Welcome back to the Hez Project. I'm John Ordalaza, and today I'm going to be reviewing Justice League, the 2017 film. And yes, it does count as a Zack Snyder film. All you Snyder fans out there want to say it's not his film, it's not his vision. This film says a Zack Snyder film. It says directed by Zack Snyder. But we all know the story. Zack Snyder stepped down due to a family tragedy. Joss Whedon steps in, does a bunch of reshoots, changes a lot of Zack's vision, which is the sole reason why we are getting Zack Snyder's Justice League, his 4-hour director's cut. That's the whole point of this. But we're gonna go back to the 2-hour, normal-sized film, Justice League. Directed by Zack Snyder, with by Joss Whedon. Let's get into it. By the way, I am not sponsored by Monster, but if you guys are willing, so am I. This is not a bad film by any means, really. In my opinion, it's a little better than Batman v Superman, and maybe it's because of the runtime, because Batman v Superman is a whole hour and a half longer than this one. But I think this film hits a lot of beats much quicker and much more effectively than Batman v Superman does. You could also say because of the influence of Joss Whedon, once he took over, did a bunch of reshoots, it changed the overall feel, the overall tone, and the overall vision. It definitely changed the overall vision of this Justice League film, because this is the most DC has ever felt like a Marvel film, with the exception of Shazam as well. That's also very Marvel-y. It's laid out very similar to an Avengers-like film, and you just gotta wonder how amazing this film could have been, a Justice League film that was crafted from the ground up by Joss Whedon. I think that would have been a phenomenal film. But, you know, we have Zack Snyder, who started this whole universe, started this film with a totally different mindset, and you can see some conflicting ideologies throughout this film. I could see there's a bunch of things that were set up in the Batman v Superman film that you could tell Zack Snyder wanted to do some really cool things with. Like, for instance, the nightmare sequence in Batman v Superman. I thought it was just a dream sequence, like a throwaway dream sequence that, you know, Batman was envisioning, and, you know, Zack Snyder, of course, makes the most out of it, the absolute most out of a dream sequence, like, just goes balls to the wall with freaking parademons and Apocalypse and Mad Max Batman, like, all of that crazy stuff. I loved all of that, by the way, but, you know, I just had my issues with its placement in that film, and I just thought it was gonna be throwaway. And here, there was absolutely none of it. You could tell Zack Snyder, his whole idea for this nightmare reality was just thrown out the window by Joss Whedon, because he just wanted to tighten it up, make the most of what he could with what was already filmed, so that he could make the film that he knows how to make, which is Avengers. And I'm not trying to knock this movie or Joss Whedon, but it does feel like Avengers almost, just with DC superheroes. This film follows Ben Affleck as Batman and unmasked Batman, because he's very much a brooding Bruce Wayne in this film, almost as if Bruce Wayne doesn't exist and he's just an unmasked Batman. And it follows him, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, fantastic as always. They're deciding to put together a team of these metahumans so that they could save the world from a parademon that literally it comes out of thin air in this film. We see Batman in Gotham, and it looks like he's tracking down this random robber, but really he's making this guy afraid so that this parademon can come out of nowhere, sense the guy's fear, and that he can just spear him off the top of the roof. It was a really cool scene, but the parademon setup was like non-existent. We only knew of parademons, or these creatures, these flying red-eyed creatures from that dream sequence in Batman v Superman. But as far as that movie is concerned, it was pretty well grounded, with the exception of Doomsday. And we thought, at least I thought, that everything in that dream sequence wasn't going to come to reality. I really thought it was going to be kind of a throwaway what if scenario in Bruce Wayne's head. I had read a bunch of places that the studio, Warner Brothers, wanted this film to be 2 hours regardless, even before Zack Snyder stepped down, so there was going to be a lot of things cut from this film. I would like to see Zack Snyder's 2-hour cut. Maybe it wouldn't make as much sense, but I would like to see it. When you have Joss Whedon come in, take Zack Snyder's work and repurpose it, so it kind of takes out of context of what Zack wanted to do and just puts it into a new vision that Joss needs to finish for the studio just to get his paycheck. When you have Joss Whedon coming in, taking Zack Snyder's vision, kind of repurposing it and almost taking it out of context to put it through this new lens of a new type of superhero film, because we knew from the get-go this film is not what Zack Snyder wanted to do, because it's so Marvel-y. There's just typical bad guy, Steppenwolf, who, by the way, very poorly designed. I thought he looked trash in this film. And, you know, there's new shots of him for the Zack Snyder's cut. I just don't like Steppenwolf's design, period. He looks better in the new cut, but he looks like a toy come to life in this film. And there's just a lot of things that they kind of repurposed in that way. How they took a character, put him in the place of another character so that they could remove this character entirely. For the most part, I think everyone in this film does a pretty decent job. Like, Jason Momoa is probably one of the better ones out of all of them. Ray Fisher and Ezra Miller, like, Ezra is a little charming in this film, but his shtick can get a little old a little quickly. And Ray Fisher, there's a lot missing there. Like, I know Zack has said he's the heart of his film and he's gonna get a shine in his film, but in here, dude, he got the short end of the stick, my dude. He's got like no significance to any part of this plot, in my opinion. He just doesn't have it. There's no heart. There's no care for his character. I don't care for his character. I don't care for the Cyborg character in this film. Ultimately, he joins the Justice League in this film because Steppenwolf took his father, and he's basically doing it for himself. And you kind of gotta buy into the fact that he's working with a team now. The guys that he was kind of like crapping on earlier in the film, like, yeah, I don't buy into that. The pacing in this film is very off, especially in the very beginning and the very end. You get shots where they defeated the Steppenwolf, and then they take a 3-second shot on all the heroes, and then it just cuts to outside. They're all standing there looking at a ship as it pulls up to them. Like, it was just way too fast. And in the very beginning, you have that fight scene, that really dope fight scene with Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman in the bank, taking out the guys. Oh man, it was freaking awesome. I just loved every moment of that fight scene. And then the second she, clings her bracelets together, it just flashes white. Then it cuts to Bruce Wayne on a horse in the middle of nowhere. You really do look at 2017's Justice League very differently. 3-4 years ago when you're watching it, the thought of a Zack Snyder director's cut of this film existing and being 4 hours long was never a thought, never crossed my mind. It was always, it doesn't exist. It doesn't. But now, when it does exist and it's coming out on Thursday, you rewatch this film and you just can't help but nitpick the out of it. I remember when the trailers came out for this, the special effects were not the greatest. That whole third act with the red sky in that other country where they showed the fight with the parademons and Batman and his Batmobile and Aquaman just freaking with his trident going all over the place. Like, it looked pretty unfinished. It looked like someone put a filter on the shot and was like, just look at this. But then, yeah, it polished it a little bit for the film. There's still a lot of questionable things. Like, for instance, you can't ignore the mustache on Henry Cavill's face. That was obviously due to reshoots because he was filming, I believe, Mission Impossible Fallout during this time. And yeah, they had to digitally remove his mustache, which made his upper lip weird. I don't know. He looked glossy. It was just weird, and I don't really want to look at it anymore. Junkie XL did compose a score for Justice League, but when Zack Snyder stepped down and Joss Whedon came in, Joss Whedon kicked Junkie XL to the freaking curb. I was like, what? How are you gonna do that? You're gonna do my man dirty like that? But he brought in Danny Elfman. I'm like, what? Danny Elfman? Dude did the original score for the Batman film, the 1989 Batman, the original Spider-Man from 2002. So I'm like, all right, give me a dope Justice League theme then, Danny. Come on. Where is it, Danny? How do you bring Danny Elfman on to compose a score for Justice League, but you don't give us a Justice League theme? Danny freaking Elfman gave us a pretty dope Batman theme, a really dope Spider-Man theme. No Justice League theme, it's just notes. There is no Justice League theme. Don't tell me there is, because there isn't. There is no Justice League theme in this film. He does take the original Batman theme that he made. He takes the original Superman theme and he kind of interjects it and utilizes it into his new score here for like 1 or 2 scenes. It's cool, but man, come on. Come on. Man. That might be a little unfair of me to say, because I know all of the reshoots and the change of roles happened last minute. You know, Joss Whedon was under time constraints. So was Danny Elfman. So I understand at that point, but it's still very, very disappointing. You had Joss Whedon and Danny Elfman working on this new iteration of the Justice League, and we got nowhere near as good of a film as Joss Whedon could make, nowhere near as good of a score as Danny Elfman could compose. Those are the two biggest crimes that this movie has committed. So I'm done rambling on about this movie. Long story short is, I don't hate it. It's just very, very underwhelming, very disappointing to see Warner Brothers just wanted to push this out there. And maybe it's because they just wanted to get the whole Zack Snyder verse over with and done with, which is fine, I guess. But hopefully we get something really cool with Zack Snyder's Justice League. Hopefully it comes back with a bang and it ties loose ends that Man of Steel and Batman v Superman may have set up. And it just overrides the save that Joss Whedon created with this Justice League 2017. Let me know down below, what did you think of Justice League 2017? Are you a fan of it? Who's your favorite superhero of the Justice League? Let me know down below. Leave a like while you're at it, and be sure to stick around, guys, because I'm doing reviews for Captain America, the First Avenger, you know, in the lead up for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm also reviewing Justice League, the 4-hour Zack Snyder cut. It's coming out on HBO Max this Thursday. So you might want to stick around, because there's always more to come.